Cool. Okay, welcome this afternoon for another episode of Off Lead with Stuart and Emma. We've stopped recording how many episodes and what season we're on now. We just keep going through. We don't worry about that too much.
I actually noticed that nobody's told us to go away yet.
No, we're lucky. We keep going. Nobody's told us to stop.
We're still getting views, so that's good.
So this afternoon we're very lucky to be joined by Sean Cameron, obviously photographer extraordinaire, or extraordinary photographer, whichever way you want to look at it.
Oh, I don't know which one's worse.
So yeah, thank you, Sean, for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure.
And yeah, we're just going to. We thought.
I'm going to butt in straight away, Sean. How annoying is that person that you have a beautifully set up website where people can go view, select, buy, send? How annoying is that person that goes, oh, I can't find it. Oh, I'm just going to do it on Messenger. I'm just going to do this. Because I remember that was me when I first met Sean. That was one of my very first, very first competitions. That was.
I am going to say not annoying at all. I like the attention. Thank you for contacting me and not just switching off and not even pursuing it. It's kind of my job. That's part of the job.
Good answer. Good answer.
No problem at all.
Good answer. Okay.
And I can see there's loads and loads of cameras behind you.
Yeah.
I do. Yes, this is my YouTube setup that I'm sitting at here.
Okay.
And that entails me talking about cameras, and pretty much all the cameras behind me are all my old cameras, the cameras I've used throughout my career.
Perfect.
And therefore it's a talking point.
Yeah, definitely. So what made you get into photography in the first place? Sure. What was your...
Well, I have to go back to when I was about 6.
Okay.
And my grandmother said to me, right, we're going to Scotland for a holiday and you're going to be the photographer, and here's your camera. And she handed me a little Kodak Instamatic.
Right, okay.
And then she said, cool. She gave me a couple of films and said, go away and practice with it.
Yeah.
And I came back about an hour later, having used all the films up.
Wow.
Testing the 2 or 3 buttons and dials that were actually on it.
And of course, those were the days that were actually printed.
We had to go down. Yes, exactly. We then had to go down to Boots to get them developed and buy some more for the holiday. But yes, that's how I got into it, and I discovered I absolutely loved the idea of it.
Okay, that was cool. And then it just grew from then on.
Absolutely, I was very lucky. I'd already always taken photographs, and I always wanted to do it professionally. But my mother was a show jumper, and that was the route I followed, working with horses.
Okay. So from horses, as so many of us do in dog agility.
Isn't it amazing? Yes. But yes, no, I was very lucky to work for a show jumper, and whose wife was a professional photographer. Okay. And in the end, I worked for her and not for him. So
okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it's good. So did you have to did you have to go to like college, or have you done any sort of...
No, I've never been to college with it at all. I learned on the job, and all my bosses I've ever had were quite quick at telling me if something was wrong and to sort it out. And to be quite honest, in this day and age, if you Google or go onto YouTube, you can get all the answers you want, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So just one question. Okay, so there you are, outside in like a cross country jump or a particular jump, shall we say, and you watch God knows how many horses go over that jump, or dogs, or whatever. How many images would you estimate that you took with and then you get that, wow, this is the picture? So if you were to sit there all day with one person, one dog or one horse on one jump, how many images would you think that you would need to take to get that one? Wow, that's amazing.
Well, I still freelance with horse photography and cross country. I'm actually doing one on Sunday, funnily enough. Cool. And they will be very cross if I take more than 2 pictures per jump per horse.
Okay.
Because they edit them and they go through them.
Wow.
So I'm limited to 2 shots per horse jumping. So it has to be as it as it comes over and bascules.
Yeah.
At that perfect point, that's where at least one of the shots has to be.
Oh, my finger would be like.
I know, yeah. So does that mean that, like, if you've got, say, 40 horses in a competition, the first 5 horses are practice ones that you don't really take brilliant photographs of, and then
no, I'd get sacked.
You have to be sort of almost perfect from the first horse then, really.
Yeah, very much so. Yes.
Wow.
Usually the standard thing is you take 2 shots of the horse, and then a shot of the number on the back of the rider as they go away, and then a shot of the floor to distinguish that you're then on to the next horse.
Yeah.
It gets very exciting when there's pairs.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
It's okay, you get into a rhythm.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So how did you make the switch from horse? I mean, obviously you still do horses, but what about how did you make the switch into dogs?
Well, it was a bit of a detour, really, because I got into rock and music photography.
Okay.
And Stuart knows about that because he's seen.
Yeah, we've got the same similar music tastes, Sean and myself.
Yes.
We've had many
and
conversations.
I worked for various music magazines, and unfortunately, the money started going out of it. And I always tell the story about being at the O2 doing Def Leppard, and there were 16 photographers in the pit taking photographs, and only 2 of us were being paid.
Wow.
And at that point, we went back, had a beer, and decided we both needed to do something else.
Yeah.
He's now doing house and building photography in London, and obviously I'm doing the dogs. What happened to me was actually, I used to know Dave Munnings when he was knee-high to a grasshopper. Because he was into horses and he had a pony, and I used to transport it around to various places for him. And I knew he was into dogs and dog agility, and I thought, well, maybe that's the next logical progression. And so I went and I saw he was doing a training day. So I contacted him and said, "Hi, Dave, any chance of me coming over and having a practice at your training day?" And he said, "Yeah, what a great idea." So I came over and he helped me out a lot and told me what type of photographs people like and what would be the best ones. And yeah, it was good. That's how I got into it. And then I contacted.
Which jump, for instance? So obviously, you know, as you say, people, we all buy certain type of jumps, certain type of pictures. So how is it if the jump is particularly angled, or it's in the right light, or what is it that you're looking for? Lighting is extremely important. The first thing I do is estimate where the sun's going to go and how long the class is actually going to last for. In sort of recent times, the classes are relatively small, so therefore you can afford to make a bit of a mistake with the lighting. Yeah. Previously, where the classes were maybe half a day, even a whole day, sometimes on the large. I had to allow for where the sun was going to be and where I was going to be for the best shots. And then you look at two or three places that the dogs will be. You're looking at turns, angles, positions, and also where I then watch them walking the course, the handlers walking the course, so I can actually make sure they don't cross in front of them. Right. Yeah. And I guess the judges stand and all that sort of thing, and exactly. And then that's why people see me walking the course the wrong way normally, because I look very strange because I'm actually looking at different angles. I do that all the time. And then my last thing is to speak to the judge to make sure he's happy where I'm going to be, and ask him what his route is as well, his or her route, shall I say? To make sure the judge isn't going to cross over. And it's far more important that the judge can do their route. I can move. The class won't go ahead without the judge. It will go ahead without me. I think got much better than that. I remember, or much better at sitting and situating themselves in the right place. I remember, or I guess even actually the courses have changed, because I remember when Beth came out 8-9 years ago. She used to hate the cameraman anyway, and we would always have it on a straight line. And of course, in that time, the jumps were always very close to the ropes as well. And
Yes.
I'm not sure it was you. It was I don't know who it was, to be honest. I remember it being a quad pause. And I remember having to like almost just drop her, straighten her down, because I just literally thought that she was going to keep going.
You're absolutely right. I mean, and line of sight is so important. You have to be out of the dog's line of sight. You can't ruin somebody's competition by taking a photograph.
And have you had many dogs sort of come over to you, obviously in many different ways, but have you actually had any dogs the way you've gone, shit, I need to move here quickly?
The only time it happened, and I'm not sure he'll thank me but for this, was in a training day with Dan Shaw.
Okay.
Both of us were fairly wary about the dog when we actually looked at the photographs at lunchtime. It was getting quite close, so I stood behind him because I was working in the second half. I stood behind him because I was working on the theory to get him first.
Yeah. I worked with a photographer once, guy called Abe Parker, who took a lot of my local photographs for my van and that sort of thing. And I remember booking him to come in and desensitize Kip when Kip got into the Novice Cup. I knew he would have to go to crafts. I knew he would have to put up with the camera noise in tunnels and that sort of thing. And he was such a sensitive little soul that I got the cameraman to come down and sit by the tunnel and do all that sort of work as well.
I think that's a fantastic idea, to be quite honest with you. When I first started doing it, I did mainly UKA shows, and I found that there were a lot of people there and a lot of dogs that seemed to be very wary of the photographer.
Yeah.
So I actually put an email out to a lot of local clubs offering that I'd sit in the corner while they were training and I'd just fire my camera off. I wouldn't take any photographs. I'd just fire the camera off so the dogs would get used to it in clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get any take up, so I'm really pleased you did that.
Yeah,
I think they thought it was a scam, in fairness to them. I think that's what they thought.
Yeah, I mean, you've been to obviously my place a few times, Sean, taking photographs from different workshops that we've done. And like you say, I think it's sort of it's beneficial for Sean, obviously, but I definitely think it's beneficial for the handler and the dogs to have extra bodies and extra things going on a training day where it's a little bit more where you can monitor it better. So then when they do get to an event or a show, then it's not so much of a big issue for them to. And if they know you as well, they get to know you as a person.
Exactly. It has to be good. It has to be good. I mean, at training days, I start off in where I would do normally. And then as that particular lesson progresses, I can get closer and closer so I can get better photographs.
Yeah.
But by then the dogs are so used to me. I mean, they just don't take any notice.
Yeah, I mean, I remember some of the training days that we've had, Sean, when you've been sort of almost lying underneath jumps to get the dogs jumping over things, and so where you've actually managed to get.
Wow.
But it's a gradual build-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't do it straight off.
Taking those shots that you don't get at a show.
You become part of the environment then, don't you?
Yeah.
So they get used to it. What's your favourite piece of equipment to photograph?
I think the weaves, actually.
Okay.
I think the weaves, because you can get the real power as they transfer weight from one leg over to the other one as they push off, as they have that powerful moment on one leg. If you can capture that, you've got the power and the movement.
Right. And I guess that's down to shutter speed, because I was just about to ask what I feel was a really stupid question. It's like, how many times can you hit the button? But it doesn't work like that, does it? Because you have like automatic shutter speed and that can
I do, yes. I usually do about 12 frames a second. Yeah, I could, as I say, I could do 12 frames a second on my cameras. So it's more a case of not taking too many.
To
be honest with you.
Yeah, because then you've got the hard job then of going home and sifting through all of the photographs.
Thousands and thousands of photographs.
Think how many you take on one class alone, let alone a weekend. I mean, that was
on a jumping a dog jumping, I would probably try and restrict it to 3, possibly 4 pictures as the dog jumps over.
Yeah.
The only hitch is I've got a new camera, and the focus tracking is so good with it. It tempts me to continue taking photographs.
Yeah.
Because some of the interesting photographs you can get with it that you don't normally see.
Yeah.
But then I've come away from a day's show with 11,000 photographs.
Yeah, and then as you got the
if I
time,
let myself go.
yeah, then you've got the time to edit every single one of them. I remember when Stacey did photography at school, she was doing some horse picturing one of my photographing one of my friends on a riding lesson basically, and she had hundreds to go through, and I guess that's the learning curve that you go through.
Yes, yeah. I mean, at an average show, I think Yulia and we've both said we do about 4,000 or 5,000 a day.
Yeah.
Wow. What's the most prestigious event that you've done?
The most prestigious?
Yeah.
Either Crufts, Olympia. I did the UKA Worlds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did the WIO, didn't you? Yeah. You did that one.
Yeah. So yeah, I've kind of done that. Outside that, I guess I've shot all kinds of different things.
Yeah. I don't think you can go any higher than that, really, can you, Sean?
No.
I think Crufts probably does it, doesn't it?
Yeah, Crufts or Olympia is the pinnacle, I think, from an agility point of view at the moment. It's
an amazing feeling walking into Crufts in particular, where you actually walk into the arena, and quite often, unless there's the pro that works for Olympia themselves, there's quite often only Yulia and myself in there.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, we're as nervous as the
I
handlers.
can imagine. Yeah, you got a lot of eyes on it.
We have checked our cameras so many times to make sure everything's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we are talking rubbish as we're walking into each other. If anybody ever hears us.
So when you're at an event, when you're at a show like, and especially an outdoor event, you've got to have some discipline to sit there in the wind and the rain and the whatever else that's going on, and just be focused on one thing for the whole morning or the whole day, regardless of how wet or cold it is. Is there a point where you've gone, sod this, I'm out of here, I'm not doing anymore?
The only time I ever do that is if I think it's damaging the equipment.
Okay.
If I see that my camera is getting too waterlogged or the lens is getting too waterlogged and it's going to
damage the equipment, yeah.
In real terms, it's going to cost me more to mend the equipment than it is.
Yeah.
Being there at the show. Yes, but to be quite honest, I usually try and, if it looks like it's going to rain, I try and talk my way into the scribe's tent. And most people have probably seen me in there, and most people are very, very good at letting me in. You know, the ring managers, the judges, they're very good at letting me in, sitting next to the scribe.
Because I can just imagine being sat there when it's like, I mean, it's bad enough when we're competing in the rain and the cold and whatever, but if you're just sat there in the same position taking photographs all day, that takes some discipline, I think, for me.
Well, I think now when you're under a dry robe, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I suppose now.
But I guess it's the job, isn't it? I mean, you do it if you were playing football, if you're a football referee or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it your full-time job, Sean?
Sorry?
Is it your full-time job?
It is my full-time job, yes.
So apart from horses and dogs, do you do anything else?
I do horses, as I say. I've got a horse event on Sunday. I do the occasional wedding. I do anything really, to be quite honest. I won't use the phrase that I normally use on this podcast because it's quite rude, but I will do anything that anybody pays me to do with the camera.
Right. We'll hold it.
I mean, in the olden days, when I first started, you'd either be a wedding photographer or you'd be a press photographer or an equine photographer. Now, to be quite honest, you don't have those luxuries. You do whatever people want you to do.
Yeah.
Have you found that there are more photographers now than before, or does it come in waves, or do you just has it steadily sort of grown?
When we used to be doing it in the days of film, many moons ago, yes, it was much more. That you'd literally be the only person with a camera, almost anywhere. It was very unusual to have somebody else taking photographs of horses, for instance, or whatever. When digital came in, yes, it started to encourage people. Now, to be quite honest, yes, it's massive, isn't it? I don't think photography's ever been bigger. I mean, people use their phones. I mean, you can get a really decent shot with your phone. So the likes of me are. I always say to the younger people who want to do it for a living, do videography. Don't do photography. Photography is a hard job nowadays.
As you say, because the phones are so good.
Phones are so good,
exactly. And there are so many good college courses out there and university courses. You know, these youngsters are coming out and they're damn good photographers.
And they haven't done what you've done. They haven't been in the trenches as long as you have, Sean, and they haven't done their work. That's what it is.
But the cameras are there, their training's there. They're still good. They're still competitive.
Experience and all that. I don't know whether it must come in. It must come in. It's the same as any job, isn't it?
I think it's timing. I think that's what does it. I think it's the timing of seeing a shot or foreseeing a shot. I seem to be quite well known or popular for my shots at some of the big events of people cuddling their dogs or kissing their dogs or that moment.
I got a nice one. I have got a nice one.
And it's actually really funny because I don't want to give the game away, but I'm going to, because I can afford to. I'm at the end of my career now. Sorry, guys. But I think when all the photographers put their cameras down to look at what they've taken, I've still got my camera up. Because I know the moment will come.
Right. I like it when cameramen take pictures of cameramen. I love that when someone. I just think that's so cool.
We usually do that in case there's because we're checking the lighting or something.
But when you do like you say, when we go back to the prestige events like Crufts, Olympia, and all that, you get invited to that, or is it a case of you have to put like a tender in, or is it something that?
I have to put my press I have to apply for a press pass to them. And to do that, I have to say that I work for a magazine or a company. I do work for the Agility Club. And that's how I get there, because it's a printed magazine. Also gets me advantages if it's a printed magazine. You get a bit of a one-upmanship.
If you want someone to come and hold your cameras for you,
absolutely,
I've got as much front as Harrods, I am.
So with the equipment, just going on to the equipment very quickly. So obviously now with the digital cameras, is there less equipment now or more? Do you think, if that makes sense? Would you have had to take more equipment with you, or are the cameras that good now that you actually take less equipment?
It just takes his iPhone, sure.
I'm probably taking about the same, actually, to be absolutely frank with you. I still take you still need the same lenses. The job hasn't really changed. I tend to use a 300mm lens and a 70-200 and a 24-70. Those would be my go-to lenses. And to be honest, I'd have had the 70-200 and the 24-70 when I was doing horses. On the pair of cameras.
So, do you have a favorite make of camera as well?
I tend to go for Nikon, but only because when I got my job with the horses, my first ever job, my boss said to me, well, you've got to get something better than that. I'll lend you the money. And I went down to the local camera shop and looked through the window, and I saw Nikon and Canon, and Nikon sounded really exciting and foreign, and and I thought that's the one I'm going to go for. I'm going to pick up and I'm going to buy a Nikon.
That's like me, color, because it's purple.
Well, she was thrilled because she shot with Canon, so we couldn't swap lenses, so I had to go back and buy more lenses.
That's cool. That's good. So So as far as dog agility goes or photography, where are you at now, Sean? What are you doing now? What are you going to do next? Have you got anything planned?
I like the sound of it.
Yeah,
I guess I've stepped away from agility a little bit.
Yeah.
People won't have seen me quite so much this year.
Yeah.
2019 for me was an absolutely mad year. I was away at one point for 11 weeks living out of the caravan.
Yeah,
because I went from training camp to show, from training camp. And to be absolutely honest, by the time September came, I was absolutely exhausted and thought, this is ridiculous. And then obviously we then had the COVID business and everything. And I think we've all kind of had a rethink about our lifestyles.
100%.
And I just felt, and I'm really sorry, agility guys, but I felt there's another world out there.
100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And while shows were taking place, weren't taking place because of the in between the lockdowns, there were still other things taking place. So I went back to the horses because the horse events never really finished.
I thought you were going to say you were at number 10.
And I discovered scent work and man trailing and various things like that.
Yeah, I've noticed you've done some gun dog work as well, haven't you?
I've done a little bit, yes.
Yeah, yes. I know that. Yeah, we were saying this time and time again, Stuart, aren't we? That as you say, everybody evaluated their lives. I still do agility and intend to go back to agility, but I am, looking at other things as well, because there is life outside of agility.
Yeah, I think a lot of people realise that it's not the be all and end all of your weekend.
No, I mean, for instance, the great thing for me is on Sunday, I'll go and work for the person, freelance for the person at the horse show. And at the end of the day, I hand my cards over and I go home, and that's it. That's the end of the job done. I've paid a day rate. I don't have to worry about other people taking photographs. I just get paid my day rate, and
then you haven't got to sit there for hours on end editing and
so the pressure's off.
And
so I have started freelancing more because I've discovered that actually it gives you more time at home to spend with my own dogs, quite frankly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the wife, of course. Good grief, I've got to put that in. Sorry, Karen.
Got to spend some time with the wife as well at some point. Yeah, absolutely.
But yes, so I guess I'm doing other stuff like that, and I love the scent work. I've actually got quite an interest in the scent work because my camera's silent. It's got a silent mode, which is absolutely great.
Perfect. Yeah.
It doesn't interfere with them at all. And I love that moment when you spot when they get on the scent.
Yeah.
And because you're following them the whole time, you've got an absolute focused view.
Yeah.
Of how they're dealing with it, and it's such a natural thing for a dog to do. It's actually quite.
Yeah.
And also you can move around a little bit, whereas with horse jump, obviously with show jumping or agility, whatever, you're sat in one position or one place. Whereas with things like scent work and whatever, you're trailing, you're actually moving around a lot. So you're actually getting a bit more of a, like you say, a bit more action involved in it, really.
Yeah, no, you can. Sometimes with the man trailing, I sit with the person being trailed.
Okay.
So I get them coming towards me.
Yeah.
Coming towards the person, and I usually sit just behind them. I have got to the situation where sometimes I've sat just in front, and it's absolutely amazing. Some of the real scent hounds, they don't even really clock me.
Yeah, bypass straight through you.
They're in such focus. They'll sort of sniff me and go straight past for the person they're actually trailing. Absolutely incredible.
I feel me going out with Sean.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could listen to you all day, Sean.
That's very sweet of you.
So, Sean,
I guess if you're passionate about something, you can't help being enthusiastic, can you?
Absolutely.
No.
You said you got a YouTube. You do a YouTube channel. You've got a YouTube channel as well, haven't you, Sean?
Yes, I have. It's as per usual, Sean Cameron Photographic.
Yeah. And you do sort of lives and videos and stuff on there.
I haven't done that yet. I'm doing one live for an American guy, where we're going to do something similar to this.
Perfect.
That's going to be live in about a fortnight's time.
Amazing.
And you can have a night. And I think Stuart can give you a copy of this, can't you, if you want?
Excellent. Oh, fantastic. But no, I'm also doing my YouTube thing is more aimed at I test different cameras, different lenses. I took a lens to Wales with me to take photographs of red kites. It's a red kite feeding station, and
so you're like a food critique, but on cameras.
yes, it's quite entertaining. You kind of set up a camera behind you, videoing you taking photographs, and occasionally you have to remember to turn around and talk to it.
Yeah.
So people get in contact with you if they wanted to book you for an event.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah. Email me, Cameron221@meatyinternet.com anytime they want to.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Right. I think we'll leave that at that. I'm happy.
Yeah,
It's been
lovely
really interesting, Sean. Yeah, really cool.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
No problem at all. Thank you for joining us. It's been really interesting. And like you say, you're still around doing your bits and pieces so people can get in touch with you.
Hopefully we'll see you.
I haven't gone completely.
No, and we'll definitely see you around at some shows at some point, I'm sure.
Absolutely. You should see me at Olympia very soon.
But like, hey, can I come with you? Because I'm not going.
Oh, bless your heart.
Perfect.
I'll come and sit next to you and hold your bag.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Right. We'll catch you soon, Sean. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.